Do you have a really annoying commute to and from work? Well, if you do, you're not alone because I travel 3 hours every single day I go to work. And if you're thinking that's an exaggeration, it's not. I actually rounded down from 3 hours and 15 minutes because it makes a better title for a video. That's about 1.5 hours to work and about 1.75 hours home from work. 16 hours and 15 minutes a week, 65 hours a month, or 780 hours a year. And I should probably mention that I travel by bus. I don't own a car. And I have no idea why it takes longer to get home from work than it does to go to work, but it just does. So you're probably wondering why I have such a long commute. And to be honest, I could very easily get a job much closer to where I live, but it would probably be a part-time job working retail for a minimum wage. And I find lately it's really hard to find a job that I enjoy doing and I can at least tolerate the work that I do now. And in case you're wondering what I do, I scan documents and I just listen to podcasts all day while I'm doing it. So what I want to talk about today is how I make my long commute more comfortable. And while the things that I do to make things more comfortable do help, they don't make everything perfect. It's just a way to kind of make things a little bit better. And I should mention that I still hate taking the bus, but these are some things that I've learned that kind of make it a little bit more tolerable. And I think one of the first steps was just accepting that I'm going to be in an uncomfortable environment for a while. And then I found the worst aspects of that discomfort and figured out how to manage them. So right now I take 2 buses in each direction that I travel, and I've kind of worked out where I like to sit on the bus depending on where I'm going and which bus I'm on. So it's probably pretty obvious to most of you, but if it's a shorter bus ride, I'll tend to sit closer to the door, and if it's a longer one, I'll focus more on my comfort and getting a nice window view. Another thing that I like to do is if I have enough time in the morning, I'll walk to the bus stop that's a little bit earlier in the route so that I can get on earlier and then get a little bit of a better seat. The road that I live on has lots of people who take the bus, so it tends to get really packed at the bus stop, so getting on even just one stop earlier can really give you more choices in seating. I also make sure that I always have my pair of earplugs with me. Lately I've been buying the Heroes ones, and they seem to do a decent job. I talked about them a little bit in my June haul video, and I find that they don't block out all the sound on the bus, but they do dull everything a little bit. So all the engine noises and things like babies crying don't bother me quite so much. So I keep a pair in this plastic case that I got, and I just replace them whenever they get dirty. And while I love my earplugs, I find that sometimes they just don't block out enough noise. Usually this happens when somebody decides to make a phone call while sitting right beside me. And I don't mind if somebody needs to make a quick call to check on something or to pass on some important information. But I can't stand it when somebody decides to call a friend and talk loudly for the entire trip. Especially when they sit beside me, because they can tell that I am obviously trying to read. I just don't understand why they don't just choose another seat on the bus. Anyway, the only thing that seems to make the situation better is listening to music. And these earbuds that I got tend to cancel out a good amount of the noise. And they don't seem to leak out any music to other passengers, which is good because I don't want to become a part of the noise pollution problem. And I tend to save my podcasts for work and just listen to music on the bus, but I'm sure podcasts will work fine to block out some noise on the bus too. So another thing that I do to make my ride a little bit more comfortable is I try to make sure that I always have a book with me. And by book I mean like an actual physical book or my Kindle or something on my phone to read. And I don't like wasting my time, so it can be a bit annoying to just sit there on the bus with nothing to do. But if I'm reading, I feel like I've at least accomplished something. And as you can tell from my reading list videos, I've been reading on the bus for a while. They work really well to distract me from where I am. And they can also act as a way for me to avoid awkward situations. Oh, that man's butt crack was just hanging out there for anyone to see? I guess I didn't notice because I was reading. And on that note, I'm going to end this video. I hope that you enjoyed watching and that you got something useful out of it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye!